Hey, and welcome to Brendo Makes Music, the channel where I'm documenting myself learning how to write, record, produce, and distribute my own music. I'm Brendo, and since this is only my third YouTube video ever, I wanted to tell you a little bit about myself and my background and what inspired me to start this YouTube channel and what you could expect to see in future videos. So let's get into it. The constants in my life have always been music, athletic pursuits, marketing and graphic design, and personal growth. I've always been obsessed with music. I dabbled with piano a little bit as a kid, and I played snare drum in the elementary school band, but I didn't take either one of those very seriously. But when I was 12 years old, the Seattle grunge scene hit. That whole thing changed my life. I grew out my hair, I got a bass guitar, and I started playing in bands. I continued playing bass guitar and playing in bands all throughout junior high school and in high school. Despite music always being my biggest passion, in my youth, I prioritized sports over it because we were a sports-oriented family. Nobody else in my family was as obsessed with music as I was. So in my teens, I played sports, soccer and lacrosse. And I also played music, but I just treated it like a hobby. So when it came time to apply for colleges, totally unsure of what I wanted to do with my life, I decided to major in marketing. And then in college, the rave scene got real big. So I got some turntables and I started DJing EDM music and hip hop and producing some EDM music. Professionally, after I graduated Virginia Tech, I got a job as a marketing director. And I did that for 2 years. And then after that, I got a job as a project manager at a commercial printing company where I worked for 6.5 years. But then the iPhone came out in 2007 and the economy tanked in 2008 and printing budgets got slashed. So I had to pivot again. So I went back to grad school for graphic design, which seemed like the next logical step. So then I got a corporate job as a graphic designer where I worked for 8 years. And then when the pandemic hit, unfortunately, I lost my job and I found myself unemployed for the first time in 17 years. So then I decided to start my own freelance graphic design business because nobody was hiring in April of 2020 when I lost my job. I had to teach myself how to incorporate a business, do all of my own bookkeeping, do client outreach, manage client relationships, and do all of the graphic design work myself. So that's what I've been doing since April of 2020. I've been working as a freelance graphic designer. So why did I decide to start a YouTube channel at 44 years old? As any freelancer knows, business ebbs and flows. And a few months ago, work started to dry up. So I started to really explore music again. I started playing open mics all over town. And I started volunteering at a radio station, and I joined 2 different bands, and I started to dabble in production again. And that's when I thought to myself, it's now or never for me to finally pursue music the way that I've always wanted to. And I thought that the best way for me to do that and possibly turning it into a business would be to create a YouTube channel. I sold my townhouse in Salem, Massachusetts before I moved here to Colorado. And I'm renting here in Colorado, so I have a little bit of a nest egg, but it's also my life savings and it's draining fast. So the stakes are high. I don't come from money, so I'm taking a huge gamble on myself by doing this. So just like I did when I started my business, I find myself watching YouTube videos and simultaneously teaching myself everything that goes into doing this. How to make YouTube videos with good quality video and audio and lighting, and scripting and directing YouTube videos, video editing with Adobe Premiere, because I'm used to working in Adobe programs as a graphic designer, so Adobe Premiere seems like the best editing software for me to use, and music production with Logic Pro. I mean, call it a midlife crisis if you want, but my intuition is telling me that this is the right move. And as I've gotten older, I've learned to listen more to my intuition. So what can viewers expect to see on this channel? Essentially content that documents me learning how to write, record, produce, and distribute my own music. All while doing it midlife after having bailed on my corporate 9-to-5 career. I'll be working in my home studio, which you see here, and I'll be working in Apple Logic Pro X, and you'll probably see me fumbling through it because I don't know it very well. But that's the object, is to learn as I go and document the process. Over the years, I've accumulated some instruments and some gear. I have this right here is a Machine MK3. And then behind me is my electric piano, which I really have set up as my MIDI controller. And then I have an electric guitar, a couple of acoustic guitars, a couple bass guitars, and obviously some microphones. I don't really know what kind of music I want to make because I love all kinds of music. So I'm just going to throw spaghetti at the wall and see what happens. I'm going to document myself making all kinds of music. 90s rock music, punk rock, EDM, hip hop, singer-songwriter, folk music, instrumental, electronic stuff, all kinds of music. It's going to be a giant experiment, and the idea is to make this music and then publish it, because that's something that I've always wanted to do. I may also sprinkle in some other types of content around graphic design and branding and running, maybe even surfing, and pivoting careers midlife to pursue a passion. I've consumed a ton of inspirational content over the years, which contributed greatly to me starting this YouTube channel. So I hope to share some of the wisdom that I've learned along the way, in hopes that it inspires others to pursue their dreams and passions even later in life, like me. I also plan to have guest appearances by some of my friends and other musicians, and most definitely my dog Ruka. You'll be seeing an awful lot of Ruka. So real quick, I'll just walk you through my setup here so you can see what's going on. So this is what I plan to show a lot of in my videos when I'm making music. So what you see here on the screen here is Logic Pro. And this is a template that I set up in Logic Pro. And what I have here is a track stack for Machine. So each one of these drums, each one of these pads is on a separate track. So I can mix each one separately. And this thing has like a bazillion sounds, so I can't wait to dig into it. And I have a separate camera so you can see what I'm doing on here. Kind of cool, right? And then also in this template, I have a piano set up, which is controlled by my electric piano, which is my MIDI controller. And that same MIDI controller also controls all the other software instruments, like synths. And then I also put in a session drummer track. So you can be like... You get the idea. And then also in this template, I have tracks for electric guitar, acoustic guitar, bass guitar, and vocals. Obviously, I can add as many tracks as I want, but this is just a good template to start with. And I have some other different camera views, so I can show just Logic Pro. If I'm focusing on things that I'm just doing in Logic Pro and I want to focus on that. And like I showed before, I can show Logic Pro and me. And then there's this one with just me. So that's all for my YouTube channel's introduction. If you have any questions about me, my gear, this channel, or anything else, feel free to drop it in the comments below and I'll be sure to get back to you. And if this channel sounds like something you'd be interested in, then be sure to hit that subscribe button. I'd love to have you join me on this journey. I'll link to one of my other videos right here, so be sure to check that out, and I'll see you in the next one.